Well, out of seemingly eons of time of mystery, I finally resolved, to my satisfaction, the definition of the ether. For the last several months, if not a few years, I've been denying its existence because it doesn't serve any useful purpose to an electrical engineer who already has everything he needs, or she, to create, to understand, and destroy energy, seemingly. Because actually what we're doing is we're breathing. We're getting the circuit to inhale, which we never allow in conventional electrical engineering. We simply force the circuit to exhale and then make up the difference with brute force. And a strong arm, heavy-handed approach to the source of energy for the circuit. But if we make a light touch, similar to that of a crystal radio from the 1920s, we can allow and encourage, not merely allow, but encourage the circuit to inhale as well as exhale, not necessarily always at the same time. Sometimes you have to take turns doing one versus the other. And through the process of breathing, something we don't allow our circuits to do, because all we do is exhale, now the circuit can maintain itself as what is normally designated as being a perpetual motion machine. Of course, we all know that even we wear out and die, so breath alone is not enough. Yet we don't even allow our circuits to breathe. It's kind of like you give birth to a baby and then sit on its chest so that it can't inhale. It's like, oh yeah, it's going to die. Duh. Once it becomes disconnected from mommy's umbilical cord, it's going to die. The afterbirth. When the afterbirth occurs, it's not going to survive very long with you sitting on its chest. Well, that's what we do to circuits. We give it a Ferranti effect of voltage. We give it a massive amount of voltage, and that suppresses any hope of free energy taking place. Now, what is the ether? The ether is space. You know why I know this now? Ether is built upon to create the word ethereal. Now, what does ethereal mean? It means abstract. And what is space but nothing but abstraction? We think space has 3 or 4 dimensions. Hogwash. Space is an abstraction. It's not concrete. It's energy and matter, which is concrete, but that's a delusion, or illusion if you prefer, because space makes energy and matter possible, which means space is undetermined. It's an indeterminate value because of its abstraction, while the concrete world is deterministic, yet it's an illusory world which has, in the sense that it's the result of a cause. And this is a whole another story having to do with the 3 gunas and the 3 doshas. The 3 gunas, you can't see them, you can't measure them, but the 3 doshas is what you look for because that's all you see, but they're effects. In other words, as Plato said it best, we are shadow people living in a shadow world. Shadows cast upon space. We can say it's the screen of the mind, but forget the mind. It's cast upon space, and it's the light of the Brahman, the universal self, that is casting that light. So it's not, see, we can make an allusion to our own personal jiva, our own personal self, and say it's shadows cast upon the screen of the mind, as Plato said. But that's just a mirror mimicry of what's happening on a universal scale, in which Brahman, the universal self, is casting its light upon the screen of space, and on there are cast shadows, which we take to be real. We take them to be energy and matter and gravity and all the rest. Well, space is purely an abstraction. And what is abstraction to the scientist? It's mathematics. That's what abstraction equates to. All of mathematics. So space is nothing more than mathematics, basically, from the humanistic point of view, from our point of view, from an anthropological point of view. It's mathematics. And that defines the parameters not only of energy but of free energy and everything else that we haven't included yet. Because there's more to energy than just free energy or energy for that matter. But be that as it may, there's consciousness. And consciousness is all-inclusive. And energy is a part of consciousness, but it's not all of consciousness. Religion, or what we take to be religion, is actually also a part of consciousness. Appeal to a higher authority. You pray to a higher authority. The arts, such as music, has to do with vibration. That's also a part of consciousness. So there are three different ways of looking at reality in its manifestation: deity, vibration, and functionality. Functionality having to do with the mathematical sciences. The description in abstract format of how the universe operates. But that's simply how the mayor, for instance, does his job. You can describe it with mathematical equations. But the mayor is in charge. And the mayor is a deity per se, an office of responsibility held by an entity who eventually gets replaced by another entity. But so you don't call the entity, you call the office of that responsibility that performs those functions at a specific rate of vibration. If you want to get anything done, you call the office. You say, "Hey, mayor, got to fill that pothole over there." And he delegates authority to the various chain of command until it eventually reaches the guy who has to drive out to the pothole and fill it with asphalt, and now you've got a filled pothole. But that's how the universe is no different. It gets the job done, but you break it down into three divisions of categories of analysis. And mathematics, having to do with functionality, the abstract potential of what direction function can take, is what is deposited in Akasha, which is the Sanskrit term for the ether. Akasha back in the 1800s was defined in the Sanskrit English dictionary, translation dictionary, as being the ether. No surprise to me, but now I know how they link. Now I know it's not just a change of wind, a change of fashion. To nowadays, the Sanskrit English dictionary translate Akasha into space. It's not just a change of fashion. It's actually a direct equivalence between Akasha and the ether, and it's not vague in my mind because now I know it in terms of science. It's mathematics that defines both. The ether and space, those two terms, is defined by mathematics. Because when we look at reactance formula, they don't pertain to energy, they pertain to frequency and the self-looping phenomenon of a standing wave involved in either capacitance or inductance, which I take to be the short term for capacitive reactance and inductive reactance. In other words, a coil reacts inductively and then feeds that back into itself as the new input for the next cycle, or for the next moment, of inductance. The value of inductance changes based on its own reactance when it's a self-looping standing wave. And that either expands the energy or it contracts it as an effect, but it's not a cause. In other words, there's always some energy usually in the coil. We may not be able to measure it, but it's there. And it either builds up, expands, it inhales, or it contracts due to exhalation. And the exhalation doesn't mean you've lost the energy. It doesn't mean it's gone somewhere else. That's defined by thermodynamics. This is merely talking about a standing wave. The energy can't go anywhere. It stays in one place. It's a fish out of water flopping about while staying in one place. When you have that, you have a self-loop because you have a closed system. You have the energy returning upon itself because it has nowhere to go. And reactance works on that energy by expanding its amplitude or contracting it, while also changing its frequency at the same time. And it either does it capacitively or inductively, or both at the same time, usually both. But we have two different formulae for each. So we're thorough in our analysis by breaking down the analysis into multiple parts, even though it's a complex phenomenon taking place, of multiple parts taking place simultaneously. So Akasha is the ether, is mathematics. It's a three-way trilogy of equivalence, and there's no other way to look at it. The space is an abstraction. It is not concrete. You cannot locate space in space. There is no, what's the phrase? There is no absolute reference frame for space. It doesn't exist. It does not mean that space doesn't exist. Duh. We know space exists. So why did we throw out the ether? Because we made a change between the 1800s and the 1900s, and we don't want to call it the ether anymore. So we just changed words, is all we did. Michelson Morley didn't dispute the existence of the ether. We used them as a ploy to change terminology, to confuse you. We want you to be confused. Now you're under our spell of confusion. And I'm so disoriented, I can't make sense of this. And of course we're going to be dummies. But all we're good for is sex. And violence. And drunken debauchery. Because we're so confused all the time. They keep changing the rules on us all the time without warning. But they're the same rules. They're just changing the words. It's the same rules. Keep the population confused so we can run around like mice, not in a maze. We don't even have the maze is there, but we've changed all the labels. So instead of take exit 39, now it's take exit. Wait, what? What exit is it? It's the same one you've always been taking. What are you making such a big deal about it? Oh, God, this is too much. Is that all straight now? You got it all straight? Oh, energy from the ether. Oh, yeah, mathematics. Duh. Oh. See, Tom Bearden and John Bedini and all the rest, when they talk about the ether, they're talking to dummies, basically, who don't want to do the work, the homework of studying. And how do you study it? You don't study it with circuits only. When you teach electrical engineering in college, you do lab work on the simulator. You do lab work at the bench, and then you do lecture. And then you do study groups. And then you have a tutor. And then you have the teacher's aide. I mean, look, what is that, 7 different things you do? You don't just do one thing and expect to get it. You got to accessorize with multiple methodologies before, and then you wait for the eureka, the click to happen up here. Because if it doesn't happen up here, you're just memorizing. You're a robot. You don't want to be a robot. You want to be a thinking human being who can come up with this stuff in your own terminology, if necessary, with your own examples from personal experience. If you can't come up with your own personal experience examples of what it is you're trying to explain, you don't know the stuff. You do not know it. You're still a dummy. You're a robotic dummy memorizing stuff, and you don't understand anything. You've got to integrate the knowledge into yourself. Otherwise, you ain't going to grow. You're going to stay put. A putz. You're going to be a putz. A putz. Stability, adaptability, integration, purification. Oh, I'm stressing. Oh my God, this is so shocking. And growth. 5 steps of progress. Learn them. You got to be able to do all of them. All right, you got that? Good. Get it? Done.